Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. We are here today to talk about emotional suppression. And this is going to be a heavy topic because so often we don't even realize that we're suppressing our emotions. So, what does that mean when we're suppressing our emotions? So, basically, what emotional suppression is it refers to the conscious effort to regulate or control our expressions in a particular situation. So, an example could be that your boss says something and you suppress your anger when you're speaking to your boss because you realize, like, if I come out and I'm angry and I show my anger, then I could lose my job. So that's a very short and sweet example of what suppressing emotions are. So, as we go through this lesson, I want you to really, really think about how often you suppress your emotions, like how you don't want people to see certain things about you. I know for me, there was a long time when I was upset or hurt or crying. I would never do it in front of people. I would wait until I was either in the car by myself or at home, or sometimes I would just suppress it so deep down inside of me that it never came out. So, what happens when we do that? When we do that long term, now it's okay for sometimes for short term, because again, like I said, if my boss says something that makes me extremely angry and I lash out and attack, then I could potentially lose my job. So I can suppress it for a short term, but I need to find a way to actually get that anger out and dig in to figure out what happened, what was said that really, really made me angry, and get to the root of it. Okay. Because if we continue to suppress and we do it long term, guess what this creates? It creates stress, it creates decreased emotional well being. And it also becomes very difficult for us to form very close relationships. Okay. So, what do we need to do? Is we need to find us an outlet. And how is that outlet? Because what happens is when we suppress so many emotions on a constant basis, guess what we do? We end up taking this and we start to do other things because we haven't suppressed them, or because we have suppressed them, we feel like we're pushing things out, or when they start to come up, we try to avoid those. Okay. So when we try to avoid it, guess what we're doing to fill that void? Okay. Like when we have these uncomfortable thoughts or these feelings, then we just want to push those out of our mind because we don't want to think about it. We don't want to have to deal with it. We don't want to have to do nothing. It's like, get out of my head, get away from me. I don't want nothing to do with these emotions. So, guess what we do to avoid those? We begin to use distractions. Because if I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching episode after episode after episode of a series and I'm constantly watching TV, guess what I'm doing? I'm ignoring those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings because I can't focus on what is going on with me and watch TV. Or I can numb it. And how do we numb it? We do that by drugs, alcohol, overeating, right? Or under eating. So sometimes we can do both. It's like we're creating this control mechanism where we're trying to control everything around us so we don't have to actually deal with these suppressed emotions. And so sometimes people often channel these strong emotions into physical activity like boxing, running, going to the gym. And so what happens is focusing our mind on something else helps us forget what's really going on in the inside. Now, if you've gotten this far into the program, you already know that that doesn't stay gone for a very long time, that those things are not healthy for us. Because guess what? The more we repress them, the more we suppress them, guess what happens? It just eventually explodes. That's why we are so angry. That's why we are so emotional. That's why we're doing all these things that we don't understand. It's because we have suppressed these emotions down so deeply that it's just like lava. It's just boiling up and it's waiting for us to explode. And these typically are connected to, guess what? Our childhood, those traumatic childhood experiences. Because when we're children, we aren't given the space or the ability or even taught how to process our feelings. And if we do, we're shamed and we're told that this was not the right way. Like, how many times do you hear parents tell children, stop crying, there's nothing wrong with you? Well, obviously there's something wrong if the child is crying. It doesn't know how to tell you what it needs. It hasn't learned that. Okay. So I really want you to sit down and think about how you suppress your emotions, because here's the thing. The more you suppress these emotions, the more anxiety you're going to have, the more depression, the more stress, the more addictions. Because what we have been taught and what we feel is that any negative emotion that we feel, we need to avoid it. And that is not true at all. So take the time, that's your assignment, is to take the time to really just tap into your repressed emotions, like the things that you're trying to avoid, the things that you don't want to deal with. Try to tap into that and figure out, like, hey, why am I repressing this? Where did it originally come from? And how can I let this go? How can I find a healthy way to deal with these emotions? Okay. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I will see you on our next module.